The movie begins with a car coming to a stop at a gas station. A man steps out of the vehicle and walks toward the garage. He approaches the mechanic and asks him to fix his car. However, the mechanic refuses and tells him that the garage is closed for the day, so no cars will be repaired. The man pleads with him and explains that his father is seriously ill, and he needs to leave immediately. The mechanic, who already appears greedy, asks if he will pay in cash. The man replies with a yes. The mechanic starts working on the vehicle and fixes a minor issue. After a short while, he demands $200 for the repair. Instead of paying, the man begins to laugh and says that he already knew the mechanic was greedy. Then he pulls out a gun from his pocket and shoots the mechanic. Leaving the dead body behind, he drives away. An hour later, the same man arrives at a bar owned by a person named Salim. Upon reaching the bar, an important truth is revealed. It turns out that Salim had ordered the mechanic's murder because the mechanic had been avoiding repaying his debt for a long time. At that moment, repairs were also being carried out in the bar. The previous night, someone had attempted to steal something from the bar, but the nature of the stolen item will only be disclosed at the end of the story. Inside the bar, a young woman named Miriam is also introduced. This day is very special for her because her boyfriend is going to propose to her. She has even baked a cake for the occasion. She wants to leave early, so she goes to her boss to request a day off. There, she notices the same stranger sitting with Salim. However, she pays no attention to their conversation and leaves. A little later, the stranger departs from the bar after collecting drugs and money. Meanwhile, Miriam reaches home. The first thing she does is listen to a voice message from her boyfriend, in which he tells her that he is on his way and will be arriving soon. She puts her phone on charge and starts decorating her house. After changing her clothes, a scene reveals that she has also kept a gun in her home. Suddenly, she hears strange noises near the door as if someone is trying to enter. She panics, rushes downstairs, and notices that the door is moving because of the wind. However, no one else is there. The scene then shifts to the road where the stranger is seen driving his car. While driving, he suddenly remembers that he has drugs with him. He decides to take some while still sitting in the car. During this moment, he loses focus on the road. He is still in control of the vehicle when all of a sudden, someone appears in front of him. The car crashes into the person, causing an accident. The stranger panics and tries to regain control of the vehicle, but it veers off and collides with a tree. Due to the forceful impact, his own legs get injured. Gathering his strength, he steps out of the car and looks around. The person his car hit is lying on the ground in critical condition. His face is severely disfigured, making it impossible to recognize him. Blood is flowing from his body like water. The stranger scans the surroundings and notices a distant light glowing in the darkness, indicating that someone lives nearby. He made up his mind to escape from the scene. First, he attempted to start his own car, but it failed to turn on. Then he spotted another vehicle parked nearby and tried to start it. This time, the engine roared to life without any trouble. Acting smartly, he removed the car key and placed it inside the pocket of the injured man. After that, he dragged the lifeless body toward the edge of the road and pulled it into the forest to hide it. On the other hand, Miriam was shown inside her house, preparing food. Suddenly, loud knocks echoed at the door. At first, she thought it might be her boyfriend, Travis. However, she quickly realized that Travis never knocked on the door that way. Within moments, a feeling of unease crept over her. Someone else was outside. She hesitated and chose not to open the door. But whoever was out there had already found another way in through the back door. It was none other than the same stranger. The distant light he had seen earlier actually belonged to Miriam's house. Without wasting any time, he barged inside and launched an attack on her. He tied her hands and feet and secured her tightly to a chair. Meanwhile, at Salim's bar, police officers arrived to conduct an investigation. They were there to question Salim regarding the murder of his friend, the mechanic. Salim completely denied any involvement and insisted that he had nothing to do with the incident. "Officer, I wasn't even at the bar all day," Salim stated firmly. "You're welcome to verify it if you like." For the time being, the police seemed satisfied. However, before leaving, they informed Salim that the stranger had left his gun behind at the crime scene. This revelation caught Salim off guard. He was puzzled as to why the stranger would abandon his weapon instead of getting rid of the evidence. Back at Miriam's house, her friend had arrived to deliver a cake. She knocked on the door multiple times. When no one responded, she eventually left the cake outside and walked away. Unbeknownst to her, the stranger was watching her from above. As soon as she was out of sight, the stranger calmly reached for a bottle of milk and began drinking. Then, he turned his gaze toward Miriam with a peculiar expression. Moving closer to her, he pulled the cloth out of her mouth. After that, he picked up a blanket and gently placed it over her. It seemed as if he had evil intentions. However, in reality that was not the case at all. The stranger then began to examine Merling's house. By looking at the pictures inside, both he and the audience realized something shocking. The person whom the stranger had just hit with the car was none other than Merling's boyfriend. The stranger had come here seeking help. He needed Merling's car key so that he could escape from this place. However, there was a problem. The car key was with Merling's boyfriend. They only had one car and a broken motorcycle. When the stranger asked Merling about the keys, she revealed that her boyfriend, Travis, always kept them with him. These were the same keys that the stranger had placed inside the injured man's pocket before throwing him into the forest. The stranger suddenly realized that if he wanted the car key, he would have to return to the forest. Without wasting any time, he started moving in that direction. Meanwhile, at Merling's bar, the last working girl of the night had finished her shift. When she went to inform her boss that she was leaving for home, something unexpected happened. The boss forcefully stopped her and attempted to assault her. This was because the girl had borrowed money from Salim. Salim had a twisted mindset. Whenever he lent money to someone, he started treating them as if they belonged to him. However, the girl somehow managed to break free and escaped from there. After all this happened, Salim suddenly remembered his gun. He quickly moved toward the box where he always kept it safe. The moment he opened the box, he felt dizzy. His gun was missing. Panic gripped him and blood started dripping from his nose. At that moment, he realized something shocking. The robbery that had taken place in his bar was not an ordinary theft. This was not the work of some random gang of young thieves. The one who had stolen from him was the same stranger who had killed Salim's man. Gambao had deliberately left the gun behind so that if an investigation took place, the blame would fall on Salim, trapping him in this case. Salim's mind was spinning. The stranger had betrayed him in the worst way possible. Not only had he taken a huge amount of money from Salim, but he had also turned him into a suspect. Now the scene shifted to the forest where the stranger had arrived. He was searching for Travis's body to retrieve the keys. At the very least, he could use Travis's motorcycle to get out of there. However, the moment he reached the forest, he was stunned. Travis was still alive. He was writhing in pain and crawling in an attempt to get back home. When the stranger approached him, Travis became terrified. However, he had lost a significant amount of blood and was extremely weak. The moment he coughed, droplets of blood splattered onto the stranger's face. Seeing this, the stranger was overcome with intense rage, even though Travis was not at fault. However, the stranger decided to punish him without any reason. He mercilessly attacked Travis and took his life. After Travis was dead, the stranger started searching his pockets. While doing so, he also found a ring. This was the same ring that Travis had brought for Merling. Today he had planned to propose to her. The stranger took the ring and also retrieved the keys. Now he wanted to get rid of Travis's body. He wanted to erase all traces of the crime. He was considering burying the body when all of a sudden, Salim arrived. Salim had seen the stranger's car accident. He noticed blood spilled all over the road. Immediately, he realized that the stranger might be injured. If he was anywhere nearby, Salim was determined to find him. He wanted nothing but revenge. As he looked around, he spotted Merling's house in the distance. Without wasting a moment, he rushed there. Along the way, he also saw Travis's car. As soon as he reached the house, he knocked loudly on the door. Merling opened the door. Salim, panting heavily, gave her shocking news. He told her that Travis's car had been found wrecked on the road. There was no one inside. Blood was scattered everywhere on the road. Hearing this, Merling's mind went blank. She was trying to understand everything, but she could not believe it. Salim, in panic, asked her where the stranger was. At that very moment, the door behind them burst open with a loud noise. The stranger stepped inside. Without wasting even a second, he picked up an axe. With one powerful strike, he plunged it into Salim's neck. Salim fell to the ground instantly. He died on the spot. Seeing this, Merling was terrified. Some of Salim's blood splattered onto her face. Shaking with fear, she immediately ran toward the stairs to save her life. However, just as she was running, the stranger threw the axe at her. It flew straight toward her head. Luckily, Merling ducked just in time. The axe got stuck in the door instead. Before the stranger could pull the axe out, Merling quickly ran upstairs. The stranger was now heading up, determined to kill her. Meanwhile, Merling had already grabbed her gun. This was the same gun that had been shown earlier. The door was locked. The moment the stranger tried to turn the doorknob, Merling instantly pulled the trigger. The sound of the gunshot made the stranger step back immediately. He now realized that he could not face Merling directly. She had a weapon and could shoot him at any moment. Thinking cleverly, the stranger came up with a trick. He went downstairs. Then, he turned the doorknob in a way that made it seem like he had left the house. However, in reality he was still inside. He climbed up the stairs, holding the axe, and waited for Merling. As soon as Merling felt sure that he had left, she stepped out of the room. The moment she came out, the stranger struck the first blow, breaking her nose. Her gun slipped from her hand and fell far away. She panicked because she was not ready for this attack. The stranger was about to strike again, but Merling acted quickly and picked up the gun, firing a shot. The stranger realized that there was no way he could survive now. While dying, he pulled out a drug packet from his pocket and tried to open it. But before he could consume the substance, Merling fired another bullet, ending his life. Before taking his last breath, the stranger pulled out a ring from his pocket and tossed it toward Merling. Merling immediately grabbed the ring. A memory flashed in her mind. This was the same ring Rose had shown her. As soon as she recognized it, she started crying loudly. Today was supposed to be her engagement day, but everything had turned into a nightmare. The dying stranger laughed. Right in front of him were the addictive substances he could not use, and in Merling's hands was the ring that no longer held a future. And so, the story came to its conclusion. Friends, if you like this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. See you in the next video.